Welcome to So I Married a Film Critic. I'm your co-host, Julia.
And this is Barry the Film Critic. Hello, everyone.
And tonight, you decided to surprise me with the movie Staying Alive from 1983.
There's a few reasons for that. One thing, you've never seen it before. And considering that we spent New Year's Eve watching Flashdance and Roadhouse, and you enjoyed both of those so much, I'm like, you know what? I think there's a third movie in that unintentional 80s camp trilogy that you have not seen that you need to see. The other reason is that today is my dear friend Greg Turner's birthday. Happy birthday, Greg. And this is one of his favorite movies. In fact, he swears that it's better than the original film Saturday Night Fever. We've had many discussions about this, but I was talking to him about this today, and I said, I said, Greg, in honor of your birthday, I'm going to show Julia Staying Alive tonight. And it's going to be her first time, and you're going to hear her reaction on our podcast. So, Greg, this one's for you.
Well, I mean, I think I gotta agree with Greg. I think I like this more than the original.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you two are insane. That is so crazy. But I get it. I'll tell you, like,
It's more fun.
No question. No question. I saw this movie so many times as a kid. Weird thing, like, I was born the year Saturday Night Fever came out. So I missed that complete train. Like this, my parents had the vinyl album, so I know the soundtrack. No, I mean, like, I know that album so well, but I didn't see the movie because it was rated R.
And you were 0.
I was 0 years old. No, but I mean, even as a kid, and I had a poster of Travolta. I was a huge Travolta fan. I just, because of Grease. And I recognized what an icon he was and how cool he is. Just effortlessly cool. But Saturday Night Fever, which I didn't see that movie till I was in college, and I was taken aback. Like, this is not the movie people think it is. It's really tough. It's gritty. It's dark at times. It's about how Tony Manero's life sucks so much unless he's on the dance floor, and then he's in control. The night belongs to him. Travolta is so fantastic in that movie. It's a great film, but like, it's not what people remember. I mean, it's a really tough movie. So for that reason, my parents never let me watch it. But this thing, I mean, I watched so many times. I think my parents also preferred this movie because I swear, like, they didn't even acknowledge the original for the longest time. My mom was like, oh, yeah, you're not watching Saturday Night Fever. Staying Alive. Oh, yeah. Like, whenever it came on HBO, we'd always watch it.
Well, because it's dancing and it's the weirdest love triangle of all time.
Well, it's, if you have to choose between, the good-hearted blonde and the evil brunette, which you could appreciate.
For sure.
For sure, yeah. Because everyone knows that blondes are the good-hearted ones and the brunettes are, you find them in Satan's alley.
Okay, well, let's get into it because our movie opens with a dance tryout montage.
Oh my gosh. Stallone, a film by Sylvester Stallone. This is his second or third film as a director. And yeah, this movie does not allow you to be bored for a second. The title explodes onto the screen. There's dancing, Kurtwood Smith in a wordless smoking cameo as a choreographer dancing like crazy. And by the way, this is 83, so MTV has just recently happened. This is the same year as Flashdance. So this is that period where movies were starting to look and feel like MTV videos on purpose. And between this film and Flashdance and The Hunger all the same year, you could see that MTV aesthetic sort of taking over commercial movies.
Yeah, so it's funny because as the opening credits come on, they like freeze frame the dancers. And so it's just like...
Yeah, a lot of thrusting crotches. It's great, man. And everybody's wearing like leg warmers. Like, oh man, this movie is so 83.
Spandex.
So much spandex. Yeah, it's great. And the hair is huge. And as I managed to say it faster than you. Travolta has never looked better in a movie.
Oh.
He is a goddess.
Oh, man.
Goddess? No, that's not the right term.
No.
He is a Greek god. There you go. He's like etched in marble.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hair, everything.
He has one scene where he like takes off his shirt and gets in the shower. I was like, okay.
I thought you were going to applaud when that happened.
But yeah, I've never seen him so buff.
Well, he got into crazy shape for this, yeah.
He went on the Stallone workout diet.
You got to be in my movie. Like, I got to show you some moves at the gym. That was like no, don't worry about the script. Here, let's do some crunches.
Some crunches. Like, you're only lifting 5-pounders? No, here's some 50.
See, this is what I use for Rocky 2. So you can do the Rocky 2 stack.
Okay, so Travolta gets cut from this particular
Audition.
tryout. Yeah.
He's not going to be in the Kurtwood Smith show.
Yeah. And we find out he works at like a jazzercise gym.
Oh, man. I said, yeah, before Zumba, this is what it looked like. Your dad used to go to these, by the way. Your father would always tell me about how he had like his...
He totally did.
Yeah, he used to have like the headband and the tights. And he said he remembers like doing workouts to Olivia Newton-John, Let's Get Physical.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out.
So I always imagine your father, like, oh, yeah, he would have been in this class. He definitely would have had Tony Manero as his teacher.
But it's hilarious because Tony's leading this class. He's like, oh, yeah, you guys got potential. And he's like practically rolling his eyes.
You know, you watch this scene and you take note of, because this is Tony Manero 6 years after Saturday Night Fever. And one of the things, there's more to talk about this, but, you know, one of the things that people went after this movie for when they came out, they're like, it's not the same character as the original. It is, but it's been 6 years. And as he says, he was a Brooklyn guy. Now he's living in Manhattan. But to go in the other direction, if there's anything about Manero, it's like he's not so much Manero from the previous movie as he is Balboa. You know, there's a lot of Rocky in the dialogue. You know, it's like a lot of like self-effacing humor. He's a lunkhead. He's an idiot, but he does lovable things. You know what I mean? Like it's, you can almost feel like Stallone kind of channeling some Rocky-esque elements into this character.
Yeah, I agreed. There's lots of cheesy one-liners that come up too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a Stallone
Oh, man.
script writing.
I got to say, though, like in terms of, I mean, the movie's so kinetic, you know, like it's so energetic and moves so quickly. And Stallone is a master of montages. That's seriously, like, we're never going to look back at him as a director and go, he was an auteur. But if you watch this movie and Rocky IV back to back, you would like, oh, yeah, same filmmaker. Yeah, no question. Same style.
He has a style.
Yes, he did. Well, it's like, you know, it's like 30% plot and character, 70% montage.
That's true. So next we see that Tony works at a nightclub. So he's got multiple jobs and he's just so annoyed. And, you know, he's like trying to get through a crowd. He drops a bunch of bottles, just like, oh man, doesn't even bother to clean them up.
I love this club. It's like lower. It's like, it's not Studio 54. It's like Studio 49. It's like a crappy, you know, wannabe disco palace, but it's just, it's lame. And it's funny to see him like in a suit and tie giving drinks. It's like, this is the kind of club that he would have killed in his youth, and now he's working at. Yeah, and now he's, you know, now he's serving drinks and getting pushed around and getting hit on by the groupies.
Yeah, so this woman hits on him. She's like, Tony, you know, why don't you see us tonight? And he's like, no, basically I don't want to do that. And he's like, I don't want to have a relationship. And she's like, guys like you aren't relationships, you're exercise. I was like, dang.
Well, that's his, you know, I mean, the original film had a lot of dialogue like that. In fact, Fran Drescher famously had a line like that in the original film. That was her big breakout. Anyway, that's as edgy as this movie gets. Mm-hmm. The original was full of lines like that. I was like, oh, that's a bit explicit for a PG movie. Yeah, that's it. Stallone's like, okay, now we're just gonna dance and no more grit. No more the uncomfortable, no more yelling. We're just gonna dance.
We're just gonna dance. All right, so let's see. The next day, he hits the streets. He's trying to get acting jobs, and we see our Stallone cameo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love this. I swear Stallone was like watching Hitchcock movies. Like, oh, I got to do that. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bump into the star because it's going to be like, hey, Tony, you know, like, I could totally take over this movie. This is my film, okay? So you just watch yourself, John.
Yeah. He's like, you know, I may have taught you how to lift weights, but you could definitely teach me how to dance. Can you imagine?
I would love to see Stallone in this. I would still love to see Stallone in this. Yeah, I seriously. I mean, Stallone had the physique for this. I don't know if Stallone can dance.
And I don't think he can.
And God bless him, we know he can't sing. Sorry. Yeah. But I think Stallone would have been amazing to watch in this. I don't know what kind of dancer he is.
So he's walking around town with Jackie, and Jackie is
Cynthia Rhodes.
Yeah.
The Meryl Streep of dance movies. I love Cynthia Rhodes.
She's great in this.
Dirty Dancing, Flashdance. Yeah, she's great.
So she's our blonde, sort of friend, love interest.
She's wholesome. She's waiting on him, and and she's just waiting for him to commit, and he won't, and he keeps hurting her feelings, and she, I don't know. There's something so sad about this character. It's it's like all these characters. They're not particularly fleshed out, but she plays it just right. Cynthia Rhodes, she really does find the aspect of this character that is heartbreaking. Because let's face it, like this movie doesn't have a lot of depth to it, but I think she especially is hitting her marks really well. Because this part of the movie always really gets to me. Like, oh man, he's just so awful to her.
Oh yeah, he's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, I'll see you, and then he just like forgets about her and stands her up.
He goes to see her backstage at her show, and within a few minutes, he's immediately hitting on Finola
we're
Hughes.
getting there. Okay, so he goes to her show, and I don't even know like what show this is, but Tony is back there like a smiling fool, just like staring at Laura.
Finola Hughes, yeah.
Who plays Laura.
She was on a soap opera. Was it Days of Our Lives? Forgive me, I don't know which one. I like Finola Hughes a lot, and I like her in this movie. But she never had a film career, and I don't know. I think she's interesting. I always just kind of wondered why she didn't make it as an actress. She plays the villain really well.
Okay, yes. She looks so much like Princess Leia in this film. Her costumes, the hair... the makeup,
you think
it's crazy.
Okay, Carrie Fisher doesn't want to do this movie, so like we gotta find somebody who looks like Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher could have done this part.
She would have been great.
Yeah.
I don't know if she could dance, but this was the year that she wore a metal bikini for George Lucas, so she probably could dance.
Laura's not like there's a lot of like leaping and jumping.
It's a lot of Michael Flatley action.
Yeah. Okay, so Tony's just a smiling fool, and tells Jackie like, oh yeah, you did great, and then I'll meet you outside. And then he goes and like stalks Laura in her dressing room, and she's so full of herself, and he's trying to impress her, and she ends up slamming the door in his face and is just like, I'm uninterested. But he kind of like insults her, where he's like, where are you from?
Yeah.
Kind of like, what country are you from? And she's just like, whatever. But she invites him to audition the next day.
Yeah.
So he's going to do that. So Jackie is now jealous that Tony likes the lead dancer.
Yeah.
So now we got our love triangle going.
Yes.
And Jackie, she gets a part in the next audition. Tony, we're not sure yet, but he's flirting with Laura again, and then they kiss, and then now we have our first dating montage.
Oh man, I love the montage. I think there's one montage before this, only one. It's the one where Tony goes to try out for a bunch of jobs.
Right.
And like I told you, like it is almost identical to the montage in The Muppets Take Manhattan, where the Muppets are trying to get a Broadway show going and they keep having the door slammed in the face. It's almost exactly alike. I'm like, I think Jim Henson stole that from this movie. I really do. But yeah, I love the montage of Finola Hughes and Travolta just messing around, like walking through New York. And by the way, New York looks so ugly. I love it. It's so authentic, because this is New York in the 80s when New York was an ashtray. So I love that. Like this isn't like Woody Allen's New York. I mean, New York looks gross.
Do you think Stallone was just like, just walk around and laugh and just, I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if they were outtakes. Like and that's what the scene needs anyway. Because I mean, if they're like, looking passionately at each other. No, like Tony's a lunkhead, and she wants him because he's meat. She's too sophisticated for him. So, and you got the great Bee Gees song, I Love You Too Much, playing on the soundtrack. Yeah.
I want to be over you. I want you to be under me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The music does a lot
what that song means by that.
Well, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
just don't get those lyrics.
The music in this movie, like I told you, it does a lot of heavy lifting.
Oh man, it's like, in case you don't know what's going on, Bee Gees, take it away.
Yeah, exactly.
But I gotta say, like, since we're speaking briefly about the music, the only, like, you said it's a love triangle, so it's between the good girl, the bad girl. The only battle that's more severe in this movie is the battle for soundtrack dominance. It's like the fight between Frank Stallone and the Bee Gees, because it's like every other song. It's like, okay, Frank, take 5. Okay, Bee Gees, get in the studio. It's like every other song. It's like they're sharing the soundtrack. I'm sure the Bee Gees were not happy about that.
Oh no. No, and did you notice in the opening credits, it was like songs by the Bee Gees?
Yes. Featuring Frank Stallone, who has a role in the movie too.
Oh my gosh, we'll get to that. So Tony and Laura go back to her place and do it. Laura,
but it's a PG. It's a PG Tony Manero movie, so it's afterwards.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, you don't see anything.
So it's like, what are they doing? They're in bed. They're sans clothing. What happened? We don't know.
But he's like, are you rich? I mean, she lives in like a penthouse apartment, and she's like, it's just furniture. I mean, we have no idea why she has so much money.
But again, like it's Rocky Balboa dumb, it's like, it's like something he would say, but
yeah.
Okay. Tony Manero.
All right.
Yeah.
So the next day, she kicks him out because she's like, I got to do stuff tomorrow. The next day, Tony gets the call that he got the part. So he's very excited. All right. Now Tony goes to Jackie's club where she's singing with Frank Stallone.
Oh, man. I love this so much because another love triangle the movie doesn't know what to do with is that Manero's immediately jealous of Frank's. I think his name is Carl. He has a character named Carl, and I was telling I wonder if Sylvester Stallone added dialogue here because Tony Manero is just talking so much crap about Carl. I wonder if Stallone's like, tell him how he looks like a butt. Yeah, say that. So.
Well, because Tony motions for her to come off stage, and then at one point they look up on the stage, and Carl's just I don't know, giving the weirdest look.
He's giving him the stink eye, but he's also doing the guitar thrust, so it's the goofiest thing. It's like, did Stallone keep that take in? Just I'm Frank. Remember, I did this. Yeah,
exactly. All right, so it's kind of just a lot of. Tony going back and forth between Laura and Jackie, but he sees Laura. She's with another guy. We don't know who he is, and Tony ends up standing up Jackie. Tony and Laura fight after a rehearsal. Tony and Jackie make plans, and then Laura invites him to a party. Okay, so this is with the party where Tony dresses up in his white suit.
Oh, man, that white suit.
It's a Christmas party at Laura's.
Yeah.
And they end up having a fight because he's like, I came here to, be with you. I'm like, dude, it is a Christmas party. What do you think? She's the hostess? Do you think she's just going to walk around with hanging on your arm?
But, to his credit, I mean, this is sophistication that he's never had in his life. And that's one of the things. He's attracted to her intelligence. He's attracted to the fact that she has made it and he has not. So that's one of the things that it's not so much. It's not that she isn't visually attractive. It's just that she is what he wants to be and where he wants to be. So he is kind of puppy dogging with her because, it's like, if I can only have this. And he has no idea how to act around her.
Well, and she's playing hard to get.
Yeah, well, yeah. And she's being cold from the very beginning. I like the character's consistent, and so is Finola Hughes' performance. I mean, she is cold. She's clearly playing him and having fun playing games with him. I don't know that we ever see her be sincere with him.
Right.
Which is exactly right.
And then the soundtrack plays a song called Moody Girl. Should I go with the moody girl or something?
Yeah, that's a Frank Stallone song, no question. I wonder if Sly was like, I don't think the audience is getting. Hey, Frank, can you write something? Just make sure the audience is tipped off. Yeah,
and then Tony goes to see Jackie sing. I mean, literally, he is just going
And Jackie's on stage co-singing a song with Frank Stallone, and it's a love ballad.
And she's crying. Because it's all about
it's about
how this is the end.
This movie, by the way, could be a musical. I do kind of wonder if Stallone was like, we could just have everything be singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many songs.
So, and we know Travolta can sing. So, yeah, this movie really could have just been an all-out musical.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Jackie finally stands up for herself in this scene.
Which is great.
Yeah. And she's just like, I'm not going to be anybody's second choice. And he's kind of like, well, can you give me another chance? And she's like, no, because if I do, I will be your second choice. It'll just keep happening. So I love that for Jackie.
Yeah.
It's a very good moment for this character.
Cynthia Rhodes, her character, her performance is the heart of the movie. It really is. Mm-hmm. Because Tony he's a creature of habit. I like his arc. I mean, he's trying to be a better person. He realizes that he realizes that he's a lunkhead. He's always going to be, and he's trying to be better for Jackie and for himself. He realizes that he's constantly getting in his own way.
Mm-hmm. So after she does that, there's another song, and Tony walks all the way back to Brooklyn?
Yeah, I call BS on this scene because so he walks. Yeah, like I mean, okay. As I noted, like he's walking through the Brooklyn Bridge at like 1 a.m. wearing that white suit, and he doesn't get mugged in New York in the 80s. There's no way. And then he walks all the way home
to his mom's.
I mean, he's in great shape, no question. But like how does he not? First of all, how does he not get pneumonia, let alone mugged on the way to mom's house in Brooklyn? Yeah, I don't buy that.
Yeah. But
it's the only thing in this movie I don't buy. Everything else completely plausible,
totally realistic. Yeah. But he has pie with his mom in the morning. It's kind of a weird conversation.
Can I get you something else?
No, I'm full.
Have another piece of pie.
I'm not really not full no more.
Come on, have another piece. I made it special. Yeah, hell with it then. Put it away, have it for lunch, who knows?
That's weird. I was just noticing that this house seems so much smaller than when I used to live in it.
Well, what do you mean smaller?
You know, the opposite of bigger, smaller.
Oh. I mean, well, what do you want me to do? What do you want to stretch it?
No, I was just making an observation, that's all.
Tony, why did you come here today?
I don't know, I got a lot of things on my mind.
Like what? What things?
I don't know, the way I used to act around here, the way I treated everybody, I was very hard on you. And I just wanted to say, it's not me, all right? That wasn't me.
What, are you kidding me?
No, I'm apologizing to you.
Apologizing for what? What are you saying? That wasn't the real you back then?
Yeah. Look, I had a lot of attitude, and I just didn't like it, and I just...
I don't believe this.
Believe it.
Oh, well, I don't believe it, and don't get fresh with me. This attitude you're talking about, that's what got you out of this damn neighborhood. So don't go apologize. You don't need to apologize, because you must have been doing something right.
So what you're saying is I've always been this bastard, but it's all right, because, like, it comes natural to me.
There's something like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, double yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's I don't know. I think the audience that adored the first movie, made the first movie a blockbuster, I think they've been waiting for this scene, for him to go home and for the movie to really connect to the first film. I love it. I love the dialogue because he's trying to apologize to his mom, and his mom, who's like an authentic working class Brooklynite, she doesn't have it. She refuses to acknowledge his apology. She refuses to have that kind of emotional conversation with him. And also, she makes the point. It's like, no, don't apologize. This is who you are, and... Yeah,
but if he's being like a jerk, I think he needs to change. But she says, well, that your attitude is how it got you out of Brooklyn.
Exactly.
But I mean, all right.
This is as touchy-feely as these two are going to get. I think that's the point of it. And I love that. It's, let's face it, there's not a ton of emotional authenticity in this movie.
That's true.
It gives, there's the romantic melodrama, which, works in the moment. But like, the movie is really like, okay, now he's being a good guy. Now he's being bad. Bad girl likes him. Good girl is brokenhearted and vice versa. So like, I like that there's this scene. Again, it's like, it gives Tony Manero something to do other than, thrust and pout and look at the camera all dreamlike.
And like, I don't know who to go out with. The girl who keeps telling me no, or the one who's in love with me, who's perfect.
Who's been saying I love you my whole life, and I keep running away from her.
Come on. Mm-hmm. All right, so at rehearsal, Tony tries to get back with Jackie, and she is not having it.
Yep.
So good for Jackie. But... Jackie is so Tony wants Jackie to meet him like later that night, and she brings Frank.
Oh man,
Carl,
yes, played by Frank Stallone,
which is hilarious. So they have some like a couple of like funny lines.
What probably
to
should
each
have,
other.
if it was played by a no name, it very well probably was always meant to be played by like a bit actor. The scene probably would have lasted like a second, but because Stallone cast his brother, I suspect Sly's like, okay, I'm gonna put downs, man. It's gonna be a page and a half for you guys. Like, oh, it's great, it's fun.
I didn't think he was gonna show up.
Look, I'm really sorry the show went late tonight. Oh, Tony, you remember Carl? Carl, this is Tony.
Yeah, how you doing?
Look, I need to ask you something.
I need to ask you something. That guy's a musician.
Yeah.
I don't think he was a musician type. I never thought that.
Come on, Tony, you know he plays rhythm guitar at the club. He walked me over
Rhythm
here.
guitar?
Rhythm guitar,
Oh, man, that's the worst. It's the absolute worst. Man, everybody in the world knows you can't trust a guy who plays rhythm guitar.
I can't.
Look, underneath them curls a pervert. I can feel it.
Did you take funny pills today or something?
Oh, forget it.
How did you get in here?
The window. Look, I don't
Oh,
like
you amaze me.
I don't like him. I wouldn't trust him. He looks like some demented paratrooper.
He is just a friend. Hey, listen, thanks, Carl.
Sorry, is everything all right?
Everything is fine. She's in good hands.
Hey, what are you, all state, pal?
Yeah, you want disability?
Look, I'll see you Wednesday, okay?
All right. Good night.
Good night.
I can't believe it. Did you see how you said goodnight to him?
Oh, great. No, how did I say
So sweet. It was like syrup. I had a cavity just listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They make like an insurance joke.
it's so goofy. Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Okay, so Tony is totally jealous, and Jackie's like, "You're jealous of Carl." He's like, "I'm not jealous of Carl." Anyways, basically, him and Jackie get together because Tony wants to replace the lead dancer in this musical dance thing, and
And the musical, for those of you who don't know this
we're
film-
not going to.
Oh, we're not going to see the title yet?
not
Oh,
yet.
God, it's so good.
Okay, hold
fine.
on.
Okay, wait.
Because he wants to practice with her, and it's
Yes.
the longest dance slow motion montage of all time.
Yeah, this definitely adds at least 10 minutes to the running time. Although, to the movie's credit, we're watching it going like, there's no way this is in the musical. Yeah, all this choreography is...
All the
we see it later
choreography.
on. It's like, wow, yeah, it checks out.
And they just were doing it in slow motion.
Yes.
And it was like, okay.
Again, this could be outtake footage, but, it looks cool. It's
Yes.
slow. The footage is fading on top of each other. Again, Stallone doing the cinema de Stallone.
Okay, so the next day they're at rehearsal, and the lead guy, I don't know even what his name is, but he's not cutting
It's
it.
so funny.
He's just having a hard time.
He's saying a total snit fit.
Yeah. So Tony goes to the director like, "Hey, I could do it," And the director puts him in, and the other lead guy is just like, "This is stupid," like
great.
having a hard time.
Yeah.
So he kind of messes up the first time, and people are laughing at him, and so he walks out like his pride is really hurt, and so then the director has to like talk him down. But I love it. Like the director actually says some things that are very true.
I love this character.
Yeah.
I love this performance. This director. So the character actor named Steve Inwood. He's got a Kenny Loggins beard. And the whole movie, he basically just like paces around watching all the other dancers with an intense look and just like slowly shakes his head. I love this character.
Or yells at them.
Yeah. Although I got to say, like the character just demonstrates that I don't think Stallone knows this world very well, because whenever he's getting specific about dance moves, it doesn't quite check out. Like at one point, one of the dancers goes, "I thought we were going downstage," and the director goes, "Now it's upstage." And then later on, the director says, "Lay back, Butler, extend."
Extend.
Which doesn't. Again, I don't think that checks out, Mr. Stallone.
Well, it's funny because the director's kind of telling Tony, like, "Look, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like, anybody, but you have to do this job." And all Tony can say is like, "Who cares? Who cares?" Like, okay, that's great comeback. Is this the witty dialogue that Stallone wrote?
Wait! I said wait!
I don't want to talk about it, man.
Don't walk out of here, expect to come back!
Oh, is that right?
That's right! You walk out the door now, you're over.
All right, what would you do?
Don't worry about what I would do. I'm not the one who's on the line.
I
You
don't
are.
I don't want anybody ever laughing at
Who are you? Somebody special? What'd you ever do means anything. What'd you ever do? I give you a chance for leading a Broadway show, and you walk out the door?
Well, who cares?
Who cares? Nobody has to care. In this business, I don't have to care about you. And you don't have to care about me. And if you can't follow that, follow this. You want to dance here? You follow my rules. It's not a democracy. You know, you are not the greatest dancer to ever hit Broadway. What you have is anger and a certain intensity, and that's what I need to make this show work. What do you think? You're so terrific, you're going to go out and you're going to score another show? Is that it? The best thing that you ever scored in your whole life is Laura. But you even blew that because you got too heavy with her. You're different kinds of people. And no matter how much you carry on, you're never going to change that. If you had half a brain, that thick skull of yours, you'd stop worrying about trying to change other people and start worrying about changing yourself.
So he takes off, and then you think he's not coming back, but then he comes back, and he nails it.
Oh, man.
And now the montage of getting ready for this play is full force.
Yes.
And then we see the marquee that this production is called
Satan's Alley, which was promised in an earlier scene by the director to be a journey through hell and an ascension into heaven. And Mr. Stallone, God bless you, this movie delivers completely. The crazy thing about the ending of this film, and by the way, I've never laughed so hard watching this, because every time I'd seen this movie, it was in the 80s or the 90s. I haven't seen this in a long time. But in the 80s, it was kind of cool. I'll admit, it was kind of cool. But looking at it now, the crazy thing about it is that, like, Stallone, the movie doesn't become about performing Satan's Alley. It becomes Satan's Alley, which is so bananas. You know, because like, and the thing is too, but I gotta hand it to Stallone. It's bold because, you know, an easier choice would have been like, okay, they're doing Guys and Dolls, okay, or like a chorus line or just something. But like this, like Stallone makes it about Tony losing his soul. And, you know, now Finola Hughes is basically the devil in this show, and Cynthia Rhodes is in the chorus dancing in the background. So, like, everything is, you know, a trope for this ridiculous show.
Meta.
It's this, like, Homeric show. Yeah, like, it's like it's like Dante's Inferno, you know, directed by Alan Carr. It's so ridiculous. But, I mean, I couldn't stop laughing. I know. But, you know, I got to hand it to Mr. Stallone, though. Forward-thinking, prophetic, because this is exactly the direction Broadway has gone in. Because this is 1983, okay? At this point, I mean, Cats was going to be on Broadway for another decade. Like, nobody knew Cats was going to be now and forever, and they were right. And a few years later, there's going to be a show called Starlight Express, where everyone's on roller skates, and then Carrie, the musical. And then just a couple years ago, we had a show where the lead actor would fall into the orchestra pit every night, Spider-Man. I mean, like, let's face it, like, I mean, Stallone knew, like, okay, eventually Broadway was going to be ridiculous. And right now, if you look at the marquee on Broadway, it's like Shrek the musical, Sister Act the musical, Flashdance the musical, Dirty Dancing, Ghost. It's like, I mean, Broadway, it's kind of like movies. It's a lot of remakes. It's a lot of product. It's a lot of cheese, you know? And not saying, obviously there's good shows, there's original shows, but Broadway has become very commercial and cheesy. And I mean, Satan's Alley would be right at home today.
You think Satan's Alley like hit the zeitgeist ahead of its time?
I'm saying Satan's Alley could open right now, and I don't think anybody would be like, oh yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it's not as ridiculous as like, it's not as ridiculous as like Rocky the musical, which by the way happened. They did Rocky the musical a few years ago, and I'm not kidding. Like in the climactic scene, not only are they in a ring and they're singing, but they're making full body contact with the boxing gloves.
Wow!
As they're singing I mean, nuts, crazy, and surprise, surprise, the show closed, and some people thought it was great, and other people were like, "This is ridiculous." I mean, seriously, Mr. Stallone, like, you are a prophet, because Satan's Alley, I swear, today would be like compared to like the Book of Mormon, it's the least outrageous show on Broadway right now.
Well, I liked how you said that it's basically Cats, but with demons.
Yes. I think Stallone was like, okay, like, what's the biggest show right now? You can't do demons. Okay, so it's gonna be like dancing demons. That's what it is. This is good.
And then There's that one dance number where Tony is like,
Tony, well, it's great because the movie wants us to be invested in the show, which is nuts because the show is crazy. It's like a bad Village People video, so Tony Manero as whatever, like whoever he's supposed to be.
It's like what on some Odyssey, I guess.
Yeah, like Homer's the Odyssey.
He's the only human in this.
I guess, yeah, he's in hell and he's trying to get out. So he breaks away and the laser light show goes crazy. And then I think Tony he fights with and then he tosses maybe 17 guys in S&M outfits. I mean, he is tossing them like he's Donkey Kong. It's amazing how many S&M dudes he tosses.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I mean, I could watch a montage of that all day. It's so ludicrous.
Yeah, and then there's a part. So at the end of the first act, he kisses Laura, and she scratches his like eyeball, and he's like bleeding. And the director's mad at him, and it's like, you know, it's all about the show. Don't make this personal, you know. So he, you know, they get through the second act, and then Laura is like, hey, after the show, you know, you want to get together? He's like, I have commitments. So then she turns like double evil and is like, basically, you're not going to make it. Like,
tries to get in his head.
Yeah.
You never had it.
You never had it. That's
It's
right.
a rotten thing to say.
Yeah, like, and they still have another number to do.
Yeah.
You know, and so
she's trying to ruin it for him.
Yeah, but at the end,
What he does.
he like spins her around and like
Let's
basically
go.
tosses her off stage.
He does a Spider-Man turn off the dark. She ends up like somewhere like in the orchestra pit. It's incredible.
Yeah, and the director is like, I didn't say you could do a solo.
And Travolta is dancing explosively all over the stage. I mean, you know, look, the music is ridiculous. It is, even for like 80s synth pop. It's so bad, but like Travolta is killing it.
Dancing too close to the fire.
Yeah, one point, like during the audition music, it's just like dance, 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 fire, 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 dance, dance.
It's terrible.
It's really bad, yeah, and it's amazing. Like, oh, this isn't a piece of the show. This is the entire show.
Yeah. So then he's being lifted on this, I don't know.
Basically a heaviside layer. If this was Cats, it would be the heaviside layer. But he's being ascended into heaven.
Yeah.
And he calls out to Laura. It's like, come on.
And you're like, jump! And everyone's like yelling at her. And so she like leaps up there, and then he like hoists her up with his
It's like the Dirty Dancing climactic move.
one bicep, and he's like shaking.
It's all he
and
needs.
Sweaty.
It's all
but
he
it's like you
needs.
couldn't even see them because all the lights and all of the smoke was too much.
And what's crazy to think, like, this is the first performance of this. What's the rest of the run going to be like?
I know.
Does Stallone understand that Broadway shows, they like run a long time? It's not like the ending of Rocky where it's one boxing match. Do you think Stallone was like, oh, you mean like there's a matinee? You like do it Friday, Saturday, and it's not just one show?
It's 7 shows.
Has Stallone ever seen a Broadway
7
musical?
shows a week?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if Stallone understood that. Yeah, because it's so bananas. It's like, can they possibly recover from this? Yeah, it's bonkers. It really is. And it's so funny. Because like at the time it was high camp, and man, the critics went after this movie, especially for the ending. They're like, this movie is not Saturday Night Fever, and man, that ending, that Satan's Alley thing, oh my gosh, this is high camp. Today, it feels like a parody of a bad Broadway show. So again, kudos to you, Mr. Stallone. You were ahead of your game.
Yeah. So the show was a success, apparently. Oh, I love it that Tony's mom is in the audience, and she basically like does the sign of the cross. This poor Catholic woman is just like, what am I seeing? What did you get me tickets for?
Do you think in the program it's like warning, laser lights, thrusting and jumping?
I don't know. But you know, Tony and Jackie, you know, kiss, and then Laura skulks off because she obviously has no more power over him.
Yes,
so that's sad for her, but happy for our couple.
And then the movie ends with Tony declaring true love for the one he has loved the most, himself.
Yep. He's like, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. The energy is too much. And she's like, well, what are you gonna do? It's time to strut.
Next to Eyes Wide Shut, the greatest final closing line for a movie ever. And then Travolta starts marching down the Great White Way, and the Bee Gees' Staying Alive starts playing, and we see You see Travolta past the marquee of E.T. Oh, man. It's like, yeah, this is New York in the 80s. There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
And we freeze frame and we are done.
Yeah, I think this was our shortest episode ever because I don't think we've done a movie with so many montages.
Yeah, like crazy. You know, again, like Rocky IV. I mean, Rocky IV has some of the greatest montages. I actually taught a film class where I showed the training montage in Rocky IV where Balboa is in Russia and he's training against Drago. Do you remember that? I mean, it's one of the greatest montages.
Yes,
it is because, like,
do remember that.
he's using nature and Drago is using steroids and electronic equipment, but no, Balboa is keeping it pure. He's chopping down trees. He's running up mountains. He's punching wood. You know, it's like it's such, and like seriously, like no matter how cheesy you think it is, like Stallone knows how to direct action, and I think Staying Alive, as campy as a lot of it is. Stallone's ability with action momentum, and he really understands just how to make, just pure cinema out of anything. I think the movie works a lot better than people think it does or claim it does. I don't think it's a bad companion piece to Saturday Night Fever. The fact of the matter is Saturday Night Fever came out in 1977. Disco was officially dead around that time. Like Saturday Night Fever was like the last gasp of disco. Disco was completely dead by the 80s. So I think it's fine that the sequel is about where we were and where Tony is. Tony's probably not going to be rocking disco. He's going to be like listening to 80s synth pop like everyone else was.
Trying to make it in the big city.
Yeah, and A Chorus Line was one of the biggest Broadway shows of the time. So I feel like this is, the story is completely relevant to what a lot of dancers were going through at the time. And I think it's a better movie, by the way, than A Chorus Line the movie.
Oh, A Chorus Line the movie.
It kind of stinks.
It totally
it doesn't hold up.
I watched it in high school. And
I did too.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's, Richard Attenborough directed it. Michael Douglas is the lead. There's some amazing dancing, great moments, but yeah, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't work. Somebody really needs to remake that and make that work as a movie because that film it's really hit and miss. I think this is better than that. I'll tell you one movie that almost...
It's more enjoyable than that.
It's definitely more enjoyable. It's definitely not more realistic than A Chorus Line. I think this movie would be a... Because I like the film Center Stage. Remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Center Stage. Like it's, I don't know. I feel like it's really.
With Mandy Moore.
She's in that?
Oh, it's her song.
Oh, her song.
Yeah.
Okay. Because other than Peter Gallagher, I don't really remember anybody in the movie. But I think that movie is really good. In fact, Robert Altman did a movie with Nev Campbell and James Franco about dancers. It was called The Company. I think Center Stage is better than that. Mm-hmm. But
I love Center Stage.
It's very good. Is it as good as Staying Alive?
I mean, I would watch either of them probably again. Yeah. But cool. I'd probably watch Center Stage more.
Okay, let's do the star rating. How many stars do you give him Staying Alive? Let's hear it.
I think I'm going with 2.5.
Okay. Mm-hmm. 3. Guilty pleasure for me.
Okay.
3. And I think it's, again, the word is kinetic. And for me, like that makes any bad movie enjoyable. We recently rewatched Howard the Duck. And, for all the things I could say about that movie that make it a guilty pleasure, that movie drags. It doesn't have momentum at all. That movie has such huge pacing problems in addition to everything else kind of problems. But like this movie doesn't stop moving. It really, it feels like a 90-minute MTV video. Well, sometimes to its detriment, but like Stallone can direct even if the material is silly and and half-hearted. But I do think I think it's a better sequel than people give it credit for. It always ends up in that list of like the worst sequels ever made. I disagree. I think it's fun.
I mean, it really is Tony though, going from one location to another. Just doing a lot of walking.
But let's face it, does anybody walk as well as Travolta does?
No, and you know what? Such tight pants.
This movie ogles Travolta. That's awesome. It doesn't like the camera's not interested in any of the women. It's all about Johnny T. It's all about Travolta.
The buns, the front, everything.
Oh yeah. No, I wasn't even going to mention. Wow, you went there. Yeah.
Well, this one lady at the club, she's like, "Do you know why I order so many drinks?" He's like, "Why?" She's like, "I love to watch you walk."
I wonder how many women watching this movie in the theater are like, yeah, that's right.
And he just looks at her like he's so annoyed, like, whatever, lady.
It's like, I get this every night. Yeah. So here's a question, like, because sometimes you like to ask me, like, how you think this film would have an extended ending. Here's a question I think we should share. So Saturday Night Fever, Staying Alive, if they ever do a part 3, where is Tony now? What do you think?
Tony and Jackie ended up getting married and had like a few kids. And then she was like, Tony, you can't be a dancer your whole life. You have to support this family. And he can't do it. So he ends up leaving them and going on another adventure. And at the end of the movie, he realizes what's most important and he comes back to his family.
Nice. There you go. I like that formula.
Yeah.
My Saturday Night Fever 3 movie would establish that Tony...
Oh, maybe his adventure is going to Vegas and like...
He's like in a Magic Mike review?
He like headlines some kind of...
Chippendales or the Thunder from Down Under?
I mean, maybe he starts there and he...
I mean, come on. He's not going to be in Phantom of the Opera. Come on.
No.
You don't go from Satan's Alley to like, you know...
Maybe he makes it in like one of, like Celine Dion's show or something.
Are there dancers in Celine Dion shows?
Maybe J-Lo, Britney, they
He's
all
like dancing in the background?
Yeah.
He's like that old guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we love Tony.
Yeah. And then he's like, what am I doing? I have this like great family back in New York. I'm an idiot. And he goes home and he becomes like an insurance salesman.
Wow. I think not long after the events of Staying Alive, I think he once again completely blows it with Jackie.
Okay.
And I think if the third movie opened up maybe in the 90s, although, because that wouldn't make any sense. If you do it today, I think it would establish that Tony now owns the Jazzercise Club.
Ah.
And that's his place. That's where he still shines.
Ooh, maybe.
Trains a younger guy.
Yeah.
Played by
Yeah.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the formula right there.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even Step Up and Magic Mike, they both owe a lot to Saturday Night Fever. That idea. Tony Manero, a working class kid who doesn't have anything, but dancing is everything for him, and that's where he shines. Because, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Magic Mike films, but I got to say, like, I saw a lot of that. Like, Magic Mike, he builds furniture. He wants to, he's trying to, build money. He's trying to become respectable, but he only shines when he's on stage and when women are going, woo. That's basically what Tony Manero is. So, yeah, I think that would work. I would still like to see that Travolta Tatum team up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Travolta, I mean, no offense, he's a little old now.
But he's still got the moves.
He still got the moves, but like, yeah, he would
could
need
still
like a
sing.
younger.
Travolta's awesome.
He would just need a younger protege,
Exactly.
to bring in the new generation of people to watch the movie. Because like otherwise, it's just going to be like old people like us.
I think the title would have to be Saturday Night Fever Forever.
Staying alive forever.
Could Stallone direct? Oh, man.
Only if Frank does the soundtrack.
Ooh, now you're talking. Yeah, you're right. Yo, Frank, you got any more tunes for
Do
me?
you think the Bee Gees would like?
No, I think the Bee Gees were like, okay, we really slummed for that second movie. We're not doing that again. But I gotta say, like, this film, even though it got, it swept the Razzie Awards, and Siskel and Ebert hated this movie. They said the reviews were really, I understand where they're coming from because they adored the first movie so much, and this is so not the first movie. But this film was a hit. It was it was like, they made $60 million in 1983. It was a big fat hit, and the soundtrack did well, but it wasn't a hit on the size of the first film. And this movie is a, punching bag for a lot of people, but I do... Yes, it's ridiculous at times. At times, it's hilariously funny, and it's not supposed to be. Maybe not as funny as the movie is, but no, I've always found it really enjoyable. And again, the word is kinetic. I'm glad Stallone directed this movie. I'm glad that it's not like it's not a stiff sequel. Like it moves. It never stops moving.
I like how most of the side characters that maybe get like 30 seconds or a minute of screen time, they just look perpetually annoyed. All of them. None of them smile. They're just all like rolling their eyes.
Do you think that's authentic?
Yeah, I think they were.
Okay, take 36. Let's try another one. Oh God, the Stallone man. Oh, the smoke. Oh, another. What's with the smoke, Mr. Stallone? Oh gosh.
No. I think they were just like, "Are you a New Yorker? Okay, you're in this film."
Oh, you think it's just the New Yorker attitude?
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm in the Saturday Night Live sequel. I hate being in this movie. It sucks.
Why is it? What's so?
Hey, come on. What are you going to do about it? I'm in Staying Alive. I'm in the Satan's Alley scene. I'm wearing S&M gear. I'm so embarrassed.
Those characters. It's like his boss at the Jazzercise.
Oh,
the guy who takes messages at his
those
apartment.
guys.
Like,
yes.
those
Oh, okay. I thought you were
characters.
talking about the guys like, they're getting tossed around. Got it.
No,
Yeah.
just like the random people. Yeah.
It's that gritty authenticity that Stallone only has in teeny tiny little smidgens in this movie. Because I swear, he's like, okay, this one's going to be PG and everybody's going to like it. There's not going to be anything bad, nothing weird.
Nothing weird.
Take your grandparents to
Satan's
see it.
Alley wasn't weird.
Satan's Alley is going to be on Broadway right after this movie wraps. You'll see. You'll see.
Oh, do you think that Stallone was thinking he'd get like someone would buy the rights to Satan's Alley, and he'd get like residuals for that?
I'm gonna be rolling in Satan's Alley money for the rest of my. It's gonna be Rocky, Rambo, Satan's Alley all the way. Because I mean, look at the way even
I bet you're right.
the way Tony Manero is dressed in that. He even looks like Rambo. He's got the head, he's got the bandana. And I don't know what's going on with the boots. It's like he's got like Uggs on or whatever they are. But yeah, like he looks like
kind of looks like a Tarzan Rambo.
Yes, if Michael Flatley played Rambo, it would be this guy. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And by the way, if Satan's Alley the musical ever does actually happen, I'm so there. We're flying to New York. I'm getting tickets. Oh yeah. But I'm
ridiculous.
like you got to make this real. Like she's got to scratch him in the right before the second act.
I want the
ends.
hair to be exactly the same and the costumes to be exactly the same.
I want the music to be fire, 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 dance, dance, dance.
Yeah, I want like so much smoke that we just.
It looks like this stage is on fire, fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So guilty pleasure for me. But yeah, 3 stars. 3 stars. I've always enjoyed this movie, and I think the older we get, the more we actually appreciate that Stallone can direct, even if the material isn't always as strong as his ability with the material. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. And when it started, I remember you said like, "Is this that one with Jamie Lee Curtis?" No, that's Perfect, and a very ironic title for that movie, by the way. I think this is really one of the better early Travolta vehicles. And then they got really bad, and then Look Who's Talking happened. And then he came back, and then he did like 2 more of those, and he shouldn't have. And then Pulp Fiction happened, and he was on top for years and years. I love Travolta. The guy his career is like Tony Manero's ascension into hell, but then the way he rises like a phoenix at the end of Satan's Alley, it is absolutely representative of John Travolta's film career.
Wow.
And I'm sure Stallone would love that I said that.
Yeah, I hope he hears this.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Is it for Travolta or Stallone? Both of them?
Well, it's for Greg Turner, but yeah, it's for both of those guys. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So thank you guys for this camp fest that I continue to love going back to.
All right.
I wish Cynthia Rhodes made more movies. I really dig her.
Yeah, I do like her.
She did not make enough movies. She was an amazing dancer.
And was that her really singing?
I think so.
Because she has a great voice.
I think she and Frank Stallone are on the soundtrack.
Wow.
So getting those Staying Alive checks to this day. Every time someone watches that on USA Network.
They get 5 cents a year.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Frank Stallone's whistling his way to the mailbox right now. All right.
Well, I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
That concludes our discussion of Staying Alive.
And Satan's Alley.